And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because Joey Dallin and I have things to talk about, and you're basically just along for the ride, whether you like it or not. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble all over the place. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name, Shujin. I will have a confession in a couple of moments, but we'll come back to that in a moment. Top left-hand corner of North America, joining us tonight from Calgary, as usual, Dallin. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Down to the right, to the Midwest of the U.S., Bridget. Hi, hon.
Hey there.
Hope you're doing all right.
Yeah.
And jumping, skipping, hopping, running and jumping and skipping and hopping and running and jumping and skipping and hopping and running and jumping and skipping and hopping. And there is a Zorro, the gay Blade reference. You're welcome. It's got nothing to do with it. Joseph over at Paris, France. Good morning. Glad you could make it.
Good morning.
Yeah. Okay, so first order of business. I have a confession to make. I am no longer an atheist. I now worship I worship at the feet of the great god Murphy. I had a situation, as most of you know, last week, where the mixer board that I use for my microphone kind of ate itself a little bit, and it was bad. I decided yesterday, meaning Friday, because I haven't gone to sleep yet, so as far as I'm concerned, it's still Saturday, so you don't like it that tough. I went Friday up to Guitar Center to see about either getting it repaired, which would have been nice and easy, but that doesn't happen, or to see about a replacement piece. 2 minutes before I got there, another gentleman was selling a mixer board to Guitar Center because because of the sickness, he is out of work. He would otherwise have been working on the county fair, but no county fair, no work, no money. Well, so he was selling a mixer to Guitar Center. The exact same make and model mixer board as the one that I need repaired. So they were going to offer him on a unit that would have been about $140 new. They were offering him $30. So since we were kind of chatting it up a little bit anyway, I said, well, Paul, his name's Paul, by the way, I have a unit that needs to be repaired and or replaced. You have the exact same unit that's working. They don't want to give you as much as you would like. How about we make a deal? So we made a deal. And I gave him extra from what I would have otherwise paid for a crappy Yamaha sort of replacement, and gave him a little extra, and I am now running with the replacement mixer board, which today has a problem. It was unpowered when I came home. I don't know why. I plugged the power adapter into a new power socket. It didn't power on. I am now running with the old power adapter on the new mixer board. The only thing that is common between them is the power squid that I'm using. And I'm getting the funny feeling that maybe, just maybe, there's a problem with the squid. So, I'm not using the power squid right now, which means I get to try to figure out what the hell is going on, and I'm not happy about that. And didn't I say once before last night, Dallin, the great God Murphy giveth and he taketh away.
He does indeed.
You know, I would have otherwise used my F tonight already, but, you know, I'm not going to do that. So, I don't know why we're here, except for the great grace of I didn't get rid of the other mixer. I've still got it in. I'm going to have to see if I can fix that one, because this is going to be really annoying. But let me tell you, the idea that I was there at the same time as another guy who had the exact same make and model, you know, I don't know what to say other than it's a really crappy idea as to why to suddenly become no longer an atheist, but you know what? For right now, for just this moment tonight, I'm gonna take it. So, yeah, that was really, yeah, wow. So, hi everybody. There's my confession for tonight. My midnight confession. There is a DJ reference in there for some people, so there you go. For those of you that are watching with us live, of course, hi. Good to be back with you. You can, of course, join us while we're recording and chime in on the live chat, of which Felix is over there. I was going to almost say hi to Dallin too, but, you know, thanks. Appreciate that.
Hey, I'm just trying to, work with the chat.
No, I appreciate it. And Stephanie, hi, hon, good to have you guys. Yeah, so there's that. Now, I did something today that normally I wouldn't have. I got together with my Saturday friends the first time since this whole thing started. And we had a very good get-together. We were very careful. We had masks. We stayed apart from each other, even though we were still in, like, the same house. But, you know, none of us have been around people for, weeks. So, I am comfortable and confident enough. And trust me when I say I'm super paranoid because, reasons. So, we got that going on. I remembered to turn off the reverb, didn't I? Yes, I did. Good. I'm sorry. I'm a little worried about some of the stuff that I did or did not do at this point, so I'm just trying to be careful about that. Item last. Because I went to see my friends, I stopped at Wegmans. And for the first time in literal months, I actually got some beers. And not 79-cent beers because I'm not going down to that town, so I'm not stopping at that gas station, so I'm not getting 79-cent beers. So here's the deal. You guys get to choose for me for tonight, because I got a 6-pack, a build-your-own 6-pack, and where did I put it? I put it over here. For the first time, I believe ever, I acquired Genesee beer. Yes, this is a rather large can, but, So you guys are going to have to take a choice. So you guys choose it out. Genesee. Let's see. What was this one? Brown Bomber Hard Cold Brew Original Malt Beverage. Just, there we go. Got that one. Try to get these. God damn it. Get a. This is one of those times where you say, get a grip. I may have tried this one before. I think I did. 12 Gates Coffee Porter. I'm pretty sure I tried this one before. I don't remember if I liked it or not. So, I had to fill out the 6-packs. Whatever.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't that good, you wouldn't remember it, so.
I have liked the Guinness before, but this time I got the glass Guinness, what was it? Extra Stout. So,
okay.
Guinness, we know that I liked the big can. Let's see. Java Head Stout from, what is it? Trogs.
I'm sensing a theme here.
No, you're not. because I also acquired Bud Light Seltzer Pineapple. Specifically because I like pineapple and stuff like mango. I mean, Bat Pony, no. No, this Bat Pony, no. And believe it or not, the entire reason why I got it as the build your own six pack, I acquired Stella Artois.
I got it. Stella Artois.
Artois. There we go. From Belgium. Yes. So that was that. Believe it or not, I've wanted to try that for a very long time. I never have because it's always been like a 6-pack, 12-pack, whatever the hell it is, but in a large grouping.
Yeah.
So it's like, why buy a grouping if it's something I don't know that I'm gonna like?
No, that's a fair point.
Yep.
So, as I would never consider myself an aficionado, but I've done a few craft beers here and there in my travels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the coffee porters, the Java references, all of those, I get the feeling those are going to be bitter with a bit of a coffee aftertaste. That hard, like the hard cold brew.
Yeah, the coffee
sounds to me like that. That sounds to me like that's a hard coffee.
Yeah, but the thing is, the coffee ones traditionally have had like, oh, I smell coffee. Yeah, that's all the coffee that there is. That's why I'm kind of wondering about that.
Yeah, but that's like coffee. I'm like, oh, it smells so great. It smells like coffee. You take a drink, like, oh, what the hell is this?
No, but I mean that there's like no coffee after the smell.
Yeah. Now I've drunk Stella before.
Yeah, and apparently in the chats, Felix and Stephanie both saying, yeah, the Stella might be the way to go.
Yeah. The Stella is comparatively speaking, it's a mild taste. Like it would. Okay, to be honest, it's beer that tastes like beer, but it's not overly bitter. It's not overly strong or anything. It's just it's a smooth beer. So you might like it.
All right, so that's a possibility.
Again, it's one I've done before, and on that one I can speak from experience. Coffee porter is something you got to be in the mood for because again, they're a very strong beer. They're leaning more towards. I'd say Guinness grade of flavor. Which
is probably not a bad idea, but all right, we'll keep that in mind.
It's got that brick to the face subtlety about it.
Fair enough. Bridget, Joseph, any opinions from you guys?
Well, I guess I'll go with the Stella. I don't know that much about beer, but why not?
Well, Stella Artois.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the one.
Well, that seems the odds-on favor. Okay. Believe it or not, I was actually when I found the Genesee, by the way, I was actually thinking to myself, would I be able to find a Jenny Cream Ale? They don't have it, or at least I wasn't able to find it over there at Wigman's. So, if anybody's got any knowledge about that, if it even exists anymore, cool, great, whatever. But that's how that played out.
Yeah, I was gonna go get some today. I was out picking up some stuff, and the one store I went to was right next to a liquor store, and I thought, I'm really craving, but I didn't. Now I'm thinking to myself, yeah, tomorrow an ice cold beer of some kind. It's either going to be, it's either going to be it'll probably be Stella if I can't find the one I'm looking for, or if I can find it.
Yeah. By the way, I got the fancy corkscrew with the.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. If I can find it, Asahi.
Oh yeah.
It's a Japanese beer. Again, very mild tasting.
I'm trying to remember if I've tried that one yet.
I had that. Actually, the first time I had that was at a Japanese steakhouse.
Oh, there you go. And the glass mug is Princess Luna. Haha. Okay. The fun has been doubled. There's a story behind this one, but that's another one for another day.
Actually, Don, my favorite beer to date is Kirin Ichiban Shiburi.
Okay.
It's the Kirin that comes in a white. It's got a white label with gold.
It's a Japanese beer?
Yeah, it's their best.
Let's see.
All right.
Joseph, if you can find a picture of it and post it in the chat, I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Because again, I do like looking for the interesting stuff.
1 second. How about a link?
A link would be good.
Okay. So far it is cold, and for right now it is kind of, it's beer.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's, but the thing is, like I go to buy a beer and I take a sip and it's like, yeah, it's beer, but then, like so many craft beer makers out there, they decide that what, this many hops? No, we got to triple that, and make it so bitter that you'd probably have a better time eating coffee grounds.
Yeah, I've done that. That's, yeah, no. All right, well, you know what? We'll let it go through. We'll see what happens, and who knows? Maybe there's a final that comes through it that I'll end up liking. I don't know. The worst that can happen is I spent money for glass that can be recycled. Just whatever.
Okay. I'm actually going to pop this over to somebody.
Oh, good Lord. I'm sorry. Joseph dropped a...
Yeah, it's a Google search link for...
it's 4 links at once, it looks like. So.
Yeah, I tell you what. This is... I went on one of them. I was just looking for the label to see, if while I'm out tomorrow, if I can find this, I might try it.
Okay.
And then, of course, I sent it off to a mutual acquaintance, Kieran, because it's Kieran beer. So,
of course.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the reaction.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
While you guys do that, let me go ahead and get rolling on tonight's opening and kind of work it from there. So, with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. Bedrock. I had to for part of the horrible scopes tonight. I did a little bit of a minor amount of research. I do a little bit of research sometimes because the humor factor is really what it comes down to. But I ended up having to do a little bit of research on, of all things, bridges. Don't worry, you'll hear about it in a little bit. So I was looking through information about the Verrazano Narrows Bridge because I'm originally from Brooklyn. It's right across the, it goes across the water from Brooklyn to Staten Island. It's like almost $20 to go one way if you're not from the area, but that's besides the point. Bedrock, the concept of bedrock as both a conceptual item as well as, a real thing. The idea is that you are supposed to anchor to it. Bedrock is just down the bottom. It is, you can hold on to that and it's not going to move. And, considering some of the technological things they had to do for the Verrazano Bridge, you want that. That's a long distance to go across if you don't have everything, the way that you need it to be. In gaming, Bedrock is very specifically something that is considered exactly that. You can't go anywhere. It is there. It is immutable. You can't do anything about it. And you can't break it. You can't destroy it. You can't chip it away. But in a weird, freaky twist of fate, it turns out that there is a certain collection of people for whom that challenge is simply too grand to pass up. And some gamers in Minecraft have figured out that, Bedrock can be broken. It can be gotten rid of. What used to be considered the ultimate you cannot get out of this brick is not. Through trickery, through gaming the system, if you will. The idea that something is a bedrock item, that you cannot break it, apparently happens in life too. Specifically in politics these days. The idea that someone should be able to work within the parameters of a job. Specifically, the head of a country. There are certain titles that are supposed to go along with it. Elected official. That alone is something that carries weight to it. There is baggage that goes along with that term. And most people would look at it and say, and maybe not necessarily say, but would recognize exactly what that's supposed to mean. That you are supposed to be representative of the people who said, yes, I want you to lead. Now, in a lot of countries, the bedrock idea is that one person, one vote. One citizen, one vote. And each vote counts up until you find who is selected by the most people. And that bedrock idea does not exactly exist here in the US. We have a system that circumvents the idea that one person has one vote and each vote counts into that. The electoral college system is screwy that way. And unfortunately, we've seen several times where that's just screwed things to hell. We have people who need to overwhelm that. We need people to finally take a stand and say, you know what? I can't sit on the sidelines this time. Yeah, I need to hold my nose. Because it's for the greater good. Because one of the bedrock ideas of my country is supposed to be, we help one another. And I really, really hope that we can do that this upcoming season. This is episode 327 on the docket, Your Honor. What even is comorbidity? Well, guess what, folks? We're going to have to force Bridget to talk with us this week. Yeah, I kind of figured that was going to be the answer. So, but you know, it's fine because there's stuff that goes around this, and as usual, it's not just about what the term is, but why it suddenly becomes such a buzzword. And it's you can probably guess it's pissed me off.
Yep.
So I went looking for information on Rafe Badawi's condition. Last week, we told you that there was an assassination attempt on him in the prison. We have new information since then, literally within 2 days of that having happened. From the Twitter account, good news. Rafe Badawi stopped his hunger strike. A member of the Saudi Human Rights Commission. I'm going to pause there for a second and remind you, I was as shocked as everybody else hearing this, that there is a Saudi Human Rights Commission. Be that as it may, and yes, taken with a grain of salt, about the size of Dallon's salt light. Did you ever hook up that salt light again, by the way? He's not listening to me. He's got whatever. A member of the Saudi Human Rights Commission visited Rafe in prison and inquired about his complaints and needs. I would like to thank His Excellency at Awad S. Al-Awad. I probably butchered that. I sincerely apologize for his prompt response. It's not him getting out of prison. but it's a damn sight better than, having been ignored after the possibility of, what's the word that we're looking for? Oh, yeah, an assassination. So with that little bit of good news, as of the recording of tonight's show, since he has not yet been released, it has now been 8 years, 2 months, 20 days since Rafe was unjustly incarcerated for thought crimes. Our hopes and our thoughts are still with you and your family. We are still waiting. That being out of the way, how do you guys feel about doing the horrible scopes and then actually getting into this crap fest that is tonight's theme?
Okay.
That sound good to you guys? Oh, and okay, reminding you that when a Google Doc is shared, you get to see how many people are actually watching it. Tonight we have anonymous cormorant, anonymous jackalope. I like that. That's actually really good. And anonymous neon cat. Holy shit. Google, well done. That's actually a lot of fun. So, let me go ahead and get all of you guys started. So, for those of you that know what your astrological signs are, great. For those of you that don't, roll a d12. You can ask Google to do that for you. I don't know what Alexa does. I don't care. And you guys can have a little bit of fun with us. So, let's get you rolling over here. So, Aries, you will get lost while driving this week. If you're smart, you would have downloaded either the Batman or the Riddler voice pack for Waze. Come to think of it, maybe you were using the Riddler pack and you were trying to figure out what the answer was when you arrived at the Canadian-US border crossing. Just turn around and go get the Brian Blessed voice pack instead. Trust me, I would love to have that, but he did that for TomTom, so, whatever.
Yeah, do they still make those?
You know what? I have no idea. I'll have to go and look that one up. But anyway, over to you.
All right, so continuing on with Taurus. You're out of practice with your dating game conversational skills, so we're going to help you this week. When someone asks your sign, stop answering detour. The correct answer is always dangerous curves. And for the love of all things precious, never again reply slippery when wet. Unless you're at a music store. In the Bon Jovi section. Wait. There are still music stores with a Bon Jovi section?
I'm sure there probably is somewhere, but I don't know. Probably Jersey. Probably in Jersey. We'll go. Yeah, we'll go with that. Go ahead.
People talk about burning bridges without understanding that this isn't even possible anymore. Bridges made out of steel are not only notoriously difficult to burn, they're usually very busy. So if you want to even melt the stuff, you'll need to get it over 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit, 1,540 degrees Celsius, and we don't think even anger from up is that angry. I have no idea what that is, but anyway. Have you tried just twisting one back and forth until it falls apart? It's super effective.
Ooh, I just realized I screwed up my references. Well, damn.
That would have been anger from inside out, I think.
Yeah, you're quite right.
Yeah. It's actually pretty bad when... Now, I never saw the movie, but
damn
I
it!
remember the character. No, but I do remember the character from, like, an Android game, so...
No, that's... See, I went ahead and I told Joey that I had everything checked out for spelling, I had everything just right for syntax, and I completely just,
Now you see, this is... No, I've got you on this one.
This is hubris, man. This is hubris.
No. There are two kinds of errors in coding. You know this.
Yes, I know.
There's the syntax error, which
Yes.
you took care of, but then there is the logic error, which is you run the program and it runs, but it doesn't do what you want it to do.
I'm in the air. You know, I'm leading the bit. I'm sorry. Joseph.
And this coming from the unemployed guy.
Joseph, go right ahead. Joseph?
He's muted.
Yes, I see that. Did we lose you, Joseph? I didn't see that he had... There you are.
It kind of helps myself.
Yes.
I'm doing Gemini, right?
Cancer.
Oh, Cancer. Already. All right. Some people are wondering why you're nostalgic about the 1960s. You're just nostalgic about times before you could be woken up at all hours by your phone screaming at you about a thunderstorm about to come rolling, possibly flooding the town around you. Like you could do anything about that. Just turn off your phone and go back to sleep.
Yeah, the story behind that was we were all at Anthrocon one year, and there was everybody's phone. 4,000 or 5,000 people where their phones suddenly started screaming all at the same time because of the damn thunderstorm. Let me tell you, that is one way to get everybody's attention. The other way is to have the fire alarm go off and have the chairman being sitting there with you for dinner and being suddenly bolting up out of his chair when the fire alarm goes off. Yeah, that was Dr. Conway, but that's another story for Leo. Remember that Steve Austin, the Bionic Man action figure you got for Christmas in the 70s? Everyone knew you weren't going to work in plastic surgery the first time he rolled up the skin on his arm and threw up. Oh, and the $6 million man would be about $35 million today. Of course, you could just buy the doll on eBay for $30, but why revisit old trauma? Although, I don't know how much the atomic pile would be. Yes, he had atomics powering his... I'll shut up now.
Hey, I not only had the action figure, I had the rocket that turned into his operating table.
Oh, good lord. Yeah, that's another $30 right there.
Yeah. Anyways, Virgo. I'm just sorry. Actually, I'm okay. We're kind of channeling Bridget on this one. You have friends in the medical community who are going to tell you some funny stories from colleagues at colleges. The use of topical antibiotic ointments and large self-adhesive bandages go up like crazy at the beginning of the semester for one good reason. Rug burns. Oh, sure, you laugh now. But you remember how tough it was to brave through Sunday dinner while trying not to waddle?
I'm sure I have no idea what that's all about.
I'm definitely sure because, well, I was never in the medical community. I was a guest of the medical community for a little while, but, never a permanent resident.
Libra. Normally we'd tell you to be nice in a new workplace, Libra, but this time it's all about bringing as much friction as possible to your new workplace. You've never heard of rotary friction welding before, have you? Look, it's simple. You know how you do the whole make fire with a bow and a stick thing? It's like that, only with hunks of metal. The downside is if you do it wrong, you might be responsible for an aircraft wing falling off mid-flight. So go out and buy rotary friction welding for dummies first thing in the morning.
Okay. Me?
Yes?
Scorpio. Since we know you need companionship that won't just ignore you because they don't like you, how about you adopt a cat and name it Chris? Since cat hair makes you foam at the mouth, make sure it's a hairless one, specifically a sphinx. The breed started in 1966 in Ontario, Canada. Bet you didn't know that. And that was the year Star Trek premiered. Your cat will look better than Montrealian William Shatner, and Chris is easier to pronounce than Montrealian. So, go get a cat.
Thank you! That's exactly what I was hoping would happen. Because I actually asked Dallin what the right term should actually be. Because I didn't know.
Actually, thinking back on it, it should have been Montrealer, I think is what
See, I don't know.
ultimately, but
It worked better this way because Montrealian is much more difficult to sit. Whatever. We'll get that. So, Sagittarius, calling someone an airhead, yeah, I was leading the bit before, calling them an airhead is an insult, but it has no style. That's like calling C.D. Bales Big Nose. How about you try these instead? Excuse me, is that your nose or did you park a bus on your face? You know, it's not the size of a nose that's important, it's what's in it that matters. And it must be wonderful to wake up in the morning and smell the coffee. In Brazil. There's a couple people actually get that reference. You're thinking.
yeah. Anyways, Capricorn. This week coming up is going to be tough on you. So wake up and smell the coffee every day. It'll get you ready to face all the trouble about to come down the pike. Just remember, even though there are a number of products with coffee in them, coffee beer is not recommended to bring for everyone at the morning meeting. Unless you're on Zoom at home, then hey, enjoy.
Aquarius. That painting of a moose you're thinking of doing this week is going to run into a few major problems. First, getting a photo of one is dangerous. Second, getting the picture without blurring it while sprinting away won't be easy. Third, using an overhead projector to get the lines on the canvas is a great idea, but did you buy any spare bulbs for it? Bet you didn't. And finally, that canvas won't be nearly big enough. Trust us.
Pisces. Someone will steal your lawnmower and hold it hostage this week. It's going to feel like an episode of Star Trek. You can't outrun them, you can't destroy them. If you damage them, the essence of what they are remains. If they regenerate and keep coming. No, they regenerate and keep coming. Eventually you will weaken, your reserves will be gone. They are relentless. They are spiders, and you will likely swallow one in your sleep tonight.
You're welcome. And those are your horrible scopes for this week. If you liked them, great. Congratulations. If you didn't pay for them, so piss off. We don't care. Actually, we do kind of care, but, it's not in a way that actually will do anything for you. So just whatever. So let's go ahead and discuss this word, this concept, comorbidity. So, Bridget, since you're going to be front and center on a lot of these different pieces tonight, would you like to go ahead and explain to the class what comorbidity actually means?
It is an underlying condition that one has that can contribute to other conditions or make things worse. Like having a couple of conditions at one time. And I know where you're going with this is with the COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
There were some posts going around and some disingenuous information going out that only 9% of the deaths from COVID were actually COVID.
Disingenuous is arguably the nicest way you could describe that.
And, most of the people that do suffer more severe forms of COVID do have comorbidities. And, some of those could be like if you have high blood pressure or you're obese or you have diabetes, something like that. And so information was being misconstrued to where they're saying, oh, well, if you happen to have these things, then I don't know, if you get killed in a motorcycle accident and they tested you on autopsy for COVID, then they say that you died from COVID, and that's not true.
Yeah, real quickly, before you go past that, because I almost used this on somebody. If somebody were to die from I believe I believe the expression would be lateral deceleration trauma. Being T-boned. Like, for instance, off of a motorcycle, would most coroners check for things like underlying conditions like? All right, let's try this one. Hypertension.
Would they check for that if you died from a
Ooh.
motor vehicle accident?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get a blood pressure reading off of a cadaver,
Off
isn't
a
it?
dead person. Yeah.
Especially if they've got a shattered femur bleeding out. Okay, how about pneumonia?
I mean, if you died in a vehicle crash, then they would, probably attribute the vehicle crash as the cause of death. But when you're talking diseases, this one, I'm gonna say it's kind of like if you get AIDS, HIV causes you to have these complications that turn into AIDS, and it's the complications that kill you and not the HIV infection itself, even though it is what contributed because it made your immune system weaker. It's the other things that kill you. And the same thing, can be said with having COVID. If you happen to have, a pre-existing condition like diabetes, high blood pressure, whatever, it can make you weaker, more susceptible to the COVID, but it's going to be the complications caused by the COVID that kill you.
Yep.
And we go looking at death certificates, and that's another thing that people are going, well, they're putting COVID on them and inflating the death rates and all that stuff. That's not true either. I've seen a lot of death certificates recently since the whole COVID thing started, and it will be listed on there as a contributing factor. But usually the cause of death from COVID will be something like multiple system organ failure, or cardiac arrest, or stroke, something like that. But then it will list, as a contributing factor, the COVID.
For my wife, it was complications from cancer. Because it's arguable to say that she literally bled out, or that she suffocated because of the way that the treatment had tried to help her. But that's a whole other thing. So the idea for these people to say it's not been 180 plus thousand from COVID, it's been maybe 10,000 in the US alone. To say that that's disingenuous, like I said, is arguably the nicest thing you could say, because that's kind of, to me, that's kind of like saying people don't die from gunshot wounds, they die from loss of blood. It's kind of hard to, put a positive. It's people don't die from gunshot wounds. They die from a cranial explosion brought on by a gunshot wound, self-inflicted. Stuff like that. So that's why I'm saying, I find people who are following this absolutely disgusting. Because they are intentionally it's not even willful ignorance at that point. It's intentionally misrepresenting the information. And I find that absolutely disgusting.
Well, and the thing about it is, too, the conditions that people have, they would probably, if they're undergoing treatment for it, would probably live, decades longer than, without catching COVID.
Yep. The way that I explained it to somebody was, if you're living with a managed condition, and let's go ahead and list a couple of these to give people an idea of a couple of these. Diabetes is currently a manageable condition. Now I'm trying to remember. My grandfather had congestive heart failure for what I think was like decades.
Congestive heart failure is, if I remember correctly, Bridget, feel free to box me down on this one, since my dad suffered from it, and it was a pinnacle event. Like he had the high blood pressure. I'm pretty sure his cholesterol was out of whack. He smoked. He didn't drink excessively, but he did enjoy his scotch. And he had undergone a metric crap ton of stuff post-retirement. But he did suffer congestive heart failure, and that is what put him in the hospital and caused him to get a bypass. So I don't think it's something that it's not a chronic thing. It's an acute. It's what puts you in the hospital and makes them have to crack your chest open and fix you. Am I right on that one, Bridget, or did I mix that up?
Well, I mean, it can be managed to a certain extent if you're on diuretics, and
he was.
Yeah. I mean, you can buy some time with it. It will eventually take you out, but it's not something that you just suddenly develop and die from it right away.
Yeah, like I said, I remember even as a kid hearing that he had the condition, and I just remember him for. I mean, he did not die until after I was out of college. So what level or what it was that he had exactly, I remember that he had his water pills. So I remember that he had stuff like that. So okay, so maybe not a good choice on that one. Diabetes, hypertension. Again, to the best of my knowledge, something that can be managed with medication. Yeah.
High blood pressure.
Well, that's what that is.
I am managing that. Again, speaking from experience, I am managing that with medication.
Yeah. There are some. I'm sorry.
So it's probably not gonna kill you in the next 1 or 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah. No, I've got.
But if you caught COVID, it could.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, and we've said it before, I'm immunocompromised, so if I do get it, I am probably going to be one of those statistics.
Yeah,
that you guys are going to be talking about at some point.
No, you're not allowed.
Coming up and saying that COVID didn't kill you, though, or that you didn't die from it, that would be incorrect.
Well, yeah, and of course, I don't know how bad the skewing of the numbers is up here, but part of the tinfoil hat that's coming on here is why. And I think what it is that right now, your country is, and I'm going to use
say it. Say it.
Okay, they are pissing themselves with fear right now.
That's fair.
You have got a nation of millions of people, 300 million people, scared shitless and not knowing what to do. Because this is something that there is no medication for yet. There is no treatment plan. The most you can do is mitigate it, but to mitigate it causes people to take that little thing called personal responsibility, which, oh my God, my sense of God-given entitlement as an American is being threatened by somebody telling me what to do. Sorry for the hyperbolics.
No, it's completely understandable. I mean, it's one of those things where it's true. The American, we've talked about this piece before, the American exceptionalism that trickles down to the individual. The only thing that is trickle down that actually works in America, there's a dig for you. Congratulations. I would otherwise flip you the finger, but you've already heard it, so why bother at this point? That,
Yeah.
you know, the whole teenage I am invincible. Wait. Yes, I've got. I actually, by the way, okay, jocularity aside for a second. In all seriousness, folks, if you do not have a good pen of your own, and no, I'm not gonna tell you to go to like an Amazon link or anything like that. If you do not have a good pen of your own, kind of like this one, which this used to be my wife's, get one and keep it with you. If you need to write something, if you need to sign something, don't use somebody else's pen, use your own. Keep it with you. Clip it to your shirt so that you don't have to be, because we don't think about these things, something as innocuous as a pen. I know. Yeah, but, you only hold on to it. Yeah, you use a stylus at the checkout. Use your own if you absolutely have to. Just keep that in mind. I know, it sounds paranoid, but really, it's only paranoid if, they're not out to get you.
Yeah.
And this thing wants everybody that it can get. I'm sorry. I digress.
Anyways, it's that sense of fear, and so now people are trying to rationalize not being afraid. Now, this sounds bad, but I can kind of see where they're coming from in that, well, I mean, I look at my numbers up here in Canada, in Alberta specifically.
Mm.
Like, we have less than 100 people in the hospital right now in this province. Now, we have lots of people who've tested positive, so there's a lot of asymptomatic carriers out there. So, the question, it does beg the question, like, I mean, yeah, okay, look, if you get it and you end up in the hospital, yeah, it sucks. It is terrifying, especially, those less than 20 people in the ICU. I mean, for them, it's hell, and I get that. But I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to allay some fear so that people aren't jumping at ghosts as much. Like up here, yeah, we've got our concerns. But you know what? Today, I went and I got some stuff that I needed. I went to Walmart. Yes, I still go there because they had the stuff I was looking for. I went there, social distancing, had the mask, all that stuff. Everything was great. Then I went to the bulk barn to pick a few other things up. An interesting experience, but again, they're adapting. They've laid down the rules, and people up here are going, all right, got to wear a mask for 5 minutes to get in and out of the store. Okay, what's the big deal? Get back to my car, take the mask off. Everything's Jake, That's the thing is, so up here we're kind of accepting the fact that, okay, this is kind of the new normal. But I think down there what they're doing is they're trying their best to say that, okay, yeah, it's bad, but it's not that bad. In fact, the people who have actually died of COVID, and I'm using air quotes when I say that, is much less, because what it is that people are dying from are the comorbidities. I think what this is they're trying to spin it to help people not be so afraid. Because, I mean, let's face it, you got people down there that, still believe in, like, demon sperm and other such things that, like, were you high when you said that kind of stuff?
Yeah, not kidding.
I'm going to disagree with you, Dallin.
Well, no. Like, look, I'm not disagreeing with the fact that this is egregious. I mean, this is bullshit. But I'm just trying to. I'm trying to understand the why they would do this.
Exactly why they would do this. They would do this because the number of cases of COVID and the deaths is hurting poll numbers for Trump. That's exactly why they're doing this.
Well, I'm pretty sure the 30% unemployment and the somewhat $1 trillion in debt. I mean, okay, the U.S. has taken the worst hit to its GDP since GDP has been recorded. The Great Depression of the post-World War I was, I think it was a single-digit dip in the GDP. You guys are facing like a 30% dip since this whole thing started.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't care who wins in November. That ain't going to be fixed overnight.
It's not, but I think it's politically motivated, and I say this also because they're coming out with a vaccine that is set to go live November 1st, no matter what, and McKesson's going to be the distributor.
Wait, what?
Yes. The CDC sent out letters to the governors on August 27th or 8th saying that by November 1st, they need to be prepared for mass deployment of a vaccine. And McKesson is the one that is the distributor, and to waive any licensing requirements or things like that for facilities to be set up to, push this out.
Well, this one ought to bake it then. In preparation for tonight, oh my God, I did my homework. I found, actually, I saw this on TV, on the news a couple days ago, and then I went chasing after the article. This is from CTV News, from up here. A Canadian company has begun human trials of a COVID-19 vaccine. A Quebec City biopharmaceutical company, which began clinical trials on humans on Monday. This was posted on... Oh, crap. Yeah, this is as far back as July. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing human trials for a while, but they're getting emergency authorization to blow through the phase 3 trials.
Well, okay, early. Yeah, that's the CDC down in the States. This is up in Canada. The interesting thing about this is that this particular virus was able to bypass animal trials because the vaccine from which, or the original vaccine that this was derived from, was used to treat coronavirus, a variant of coronavirus in cats. So it had already passed the animal trial stage. So they were able to build on that to go into human trials. Now, as to the entire status of it, I'm not sure yet. I was also looking on the federal Canada site, just of all the stuff they've been testing. They've actually got a log of all the different trials they've been using, dating back as far as March. So, while we've been sort of banning about, again, looking at politics, looking at religion, looking at the blood of Jesus, looking at, Copeland's blowjobs. Yeah, I know. But looking at all that stuff, if you can pierce through all that bullshit, because that's really all it is, and see that people are actually working on this stuff. Now, again, I haven't looked at I haven't seen this one here. This is okay, Associated Press. All right, that's
pretty good.
Yeah, you see, that's the thing. I look at a lot of articles, trying to find rebuttals to this or rebuttals to that. And it's just like, now NewsGuard that I used to look at, or that I recommended once before, now it's a subscription service. So it's like, I like being able to see that, news is more or less true, but I'm broke for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
No,
yeah.
I understand. Hold on a second, because this is something that's worthy of sidebar for a second. Most of us understand full well that economically speaking, world's in a shitstorm. There's no two ways about it. And I understand, I've seen over the years how necessary it is for news reporting to get out there. The fact that groups like in the US, for instance, National Public Radio is an organization partially funded by the federal government, has done very good journalism. Not necessarily news reporting, but journalism. And the fine difference between them is news reporting is, this is what's up at the top of the hour because this is what we heard on the scanners. Journalism is, we heard this on the scanners, so we went out there to find out what's going on. And here's what we found out while we were there.
Yeah.
Now,
and the other big problem with that, though, is that for every journalist out there who is trying their best to do what they're doing, there are a ton of people who are like, we didn't hear this on the scanners. We caught this from Noseflick2959 on Twitter. So yeah, we're going to pay you $50 to purple up this prose as much as possible. We don't care if it's true because we can always retract it later. But that initial hit, we've done it. We've got our clicks. We got our money. We can justify the the peanuts that we're paying you to purple up this prose. There's your points for alliteration tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you just say penis?
No.
You sounded like you said penis.
I did not say penis.
I think you said penis. You know what?
If I said it, I would have meant it. And no. All I said was purpling. No, they were paying them in peanuts.
Okay, because purple
up the prose.
Because purple peanuts is, I mean, we'll just set that aside.
We're not talking blue balls tonight.
I appreciate that greatly. No, this is not the alcohol talking. I'm having fun at his expense because when was the last time I got the opportunity to do this?
We're not talking about priapism either.
That's true. Cocaine, bad. Don't inject that. That's really bad. Okay, so the point that I was actually trying to get to, believe it or not, is that I understand that all of these companies, news reporting organizations, journalism people need to get money. I get that. I so totally get that. And I'm so totally sorry that I can't contribute to that. So when there are these groups who say, please pay us for the privilege of getting our stuff, yeah, I get that. And I get how hard it is for people to be able to contribute. Those of you that can and have been able to and have continued to, thank you for helping to support all the rest of us who can't.
Yeah.
Okay?
My biggest concern is that there are outlets there that are nothing but political hitmen.
Yeah.
They will go out and they will smear whatever side is their opposite. And in my opinion, in a lot of cases, all they're doing is muddying the waters. It's like I've said before, like, is the sky blue? NPR will tell me one thing, but then BuzzFeed, Vox, Vice, and Fox News will all tell me technically it's this. Well, factually it's this. Another one will say, oh, Trump said it's blue. He's wrong.
Hey.
Because there are some out there who are just, that's it. What?
Don't rag on cracked.
Did I say cracked? Besides, all they would give me is a top 10 list of what color the sky has been in the past 300 years, and Joey would read it. And then I would do color commentary on it.
No, you didn't, actually. You did say something else. I'm sorry. I retract.
No, I know who I said. I said Vice, Vox, BuzzFeed, and Fox News.
Okay, BuzzFeed. That was the one.
And BuzzFeed could take a long lick of that purple thing you were talking about before.
What, the salt light? I asked you about that earlier. You know that.
Yeah, to borrow a phrase from somebody, sites like BuzzFeed are just filled with nothing but smear merchants. And those are the people I have a big problem with.
Yeah, and to that end also, so that everybody understands, there are some news organizations that I will not trust prima facie. CNN very specifically. Any organization that has their entire model predicated on we will have the most up-to-date every damn time is not worth the paper it's printed on. And they're a TV show. Gives you an idea. I mean, don't get me wrong. The idea of being able to have the most up-to-date information about a hurricane from the National Hurricane Center, I'm right there with you.
Hey, give me the Weather Channel.
Well, I mean, shit, then again, I also remember when the Weather Channel used to be just a CGI setup 24/7 of just background music and Muzak and here. How did that go?
What's so bad with that? You know?
The Weather Channel does a lot of fear mongering now.
Yeah, well,
I don't like it.
I remember back when it used to be, here is your weather report for this week.
So I go to the Storm Prediction Center.
Yeah,
and I get my weather.
I have the Weather Channel up here. I also have it on my phone.
Yeah.
I also have WT Forecast. Thank you, Heretic Woman.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Now, earlier, just Bridget, you started talking about it, and Felix actually put it in the chat earlier tonight. Bad news will sell more for longer. If things are getting better, then the media has nothing for sale.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, it's the shock content.
Yeah, sometimes it is.
Did you know, back in the day, the news portion of your day was not the ratings getter of a TV channel or a TV network?
Yep.
I would dare to think that it was more of an obligation that networks had to do in order to, be on the air. They actually had to be more than just entertainment. I don't know.
It was a public service.
Yeah. You had your Walter Cronkites, you had your
No, stop right there. Stop right there. Because after Walter Cronkite, who the hell else fills those glasses?
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, you had your you had your personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, our Canadian news personalities were so good, the Air Force made fun of them constantly. And they joined in the fun. I've talked about this before, where there was a great skit. This was on Royal Canadian Air Force. Now, this is years ago, so forgive me. So they're starting off with their usual skit. Mm-hmm. It's on Parliament Hill. This is in Ottawa. This is our... Okay, for those of you that don't know, for those of you who are south of the border, Parliament Hill and stuff in Ottawa is kind of like your DC. That's where all the power is, so to speak. So you had CBC correspondent Pamela Wallin interviewing then Prime Minister Jean Chrétien. And of course, it's two actors from Air Force doing the thing. Now, they're doing their back and forth, and suddenly, Pamela Wallin walks on the set. The real Pamela Wallin. Takes the microphone from the actor and goes, "That's not how you do an interview with the Prime Minister. Here's how you do an interview with the Prime Minister." So then she starts interviewing the not Prime Minister. 5 seconds later, Jean Chrétien walks up. "That is not how you give answers to journalists. Here is how you do it." And then suddenly it turns into a CBC interview. You want to talk good sports?
Yeah, very much so.
I honestly think the last person that would have done anything like that would have been Clinton. Only because he played saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show back in the day before he was president.
Yeah, there's that. Two things really quickly. One, I'm wondering something. I'm wondering which microphone I'm actually coming through from because I didn't double check. because I sneezed a little bit before, and I looked back over at the screen, and my volume ticker was all the way up. So now I'm wondering, am I coming through the correct microphone?
I don't know. You're sounding a bit like you did last week, so I thought maybe you weren't testing the mixer. I'm guessing you're off your webcam.
Apparently I am. Well, shit. When I repowered the mixer, I must not have... Well, I don't need this over by me then. I must not have... I didn't reset... Ah, damn it, that's why. Okay. So that explains it. So, I'm sorry that I sound like this. I didn't even realize. I'm totally sorry, everybody. All right. Anyway. So, Felix had mentioned something about there used to be something called integrity in journalism. Not so much anymore. Now, journalism does have folks with integrity. It's hard to find them sometimes because even the ones that are in a bad position of, well, let's face it, the guys that should be just getting up and walking out of the White House press room when they hold the equivalent of a campaign rally. Yeah, they should just get up and walk away in disgust and just leave the room. But at that point, then they effectively lose their job and their house loses their position in the room. So yeah. It's a bit of a pain in the ass that way. But
yeah, sorry.
But the other piece of it is the integrity in journalism problem also comes up of, all right, how do I, I'm trying to figure out how do I properly explain this piece. The integrity is something that got eroded some years ago. It's not because of individuals, but because of something that ended up happening with the law on our side. Now, I don't remember...
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. Thanks to Stephanie popping it up, I went looking, and I found this little piece from the Los Angeles Times, June 21st, 1987.
Wait a minute,
Washington.
June? Shit, that was about when I was graduating high school. Okay.
Yeah, so check this out. President Reagan, intensifying the debate over whether the nation's broadcasters must present opposing views of controversial issues,
that's the one,
has vetoed legislation to turn into law the 38-year-old Fairness Doctrine, the White House announced Saturday. The doctrine, instituted by the Federal Communications Commission as public policy in 1949, requires the nation's radio and television stations to, quote, afford reasonable opportunity for the discussion of conflicting views on issues of public importance, unquote.
Yep.
This type of content-based regulation by the federal government is, in my judgment, antagonistic to the freedom of expression guaranteed by the First Amendment, Reagan said in his veto message. In any other medium besides broadcasting, such federal policing of the editorial judgment of journalists would be unthinkable. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where it died.
Yep. Now,
because now you can have your Fox News, which is definitely right-wing and right-biased. You can have your CNN and MSNBC, which are devoutly on the left. Having watched both, I can attest to this.
More or less.
There is no more requirement. There is no more regulation to be completely objective. And if you're going to present one side, you also have to allow time to present the other side.
Yeah, the problem with this has been, and this was shown by John Oliver, I think, had it, where it was, okay, I forget who it was that did it. Okay, we would like to go ahead and discuss global warming. So here is a global warming denialist. Okay, you don't believe it? Great. Okay, now let's go ahead and show you how many scientists would actually be on the other side who actually accept. And suddenly in the studio there's suddenly like 40, 50 people that walk out there and got, lab coats on and the whole thing, and they're trying to say, so there's just you compared to all these people who have got reams of data. Your voice doesn't hold the same sway. You should not even be on the show. Get off the air. That kind of thing.
But you see, the nice thing about that is, okay, I've talked about these guys before. Jeff Holliday's Wingnut Roundup. It's a monthly live stream that he does where it's done, of course, at the end of the month, where he talks about pseudoscientists, conspiracy theorists, Gillian Epperly, and other such people who get on YouTube and they spout their stuff about how vaccines are the devil and this is a conspiracy, that is a conspiracy. Now, they say sunlight is the greatest disinfectant.
Well, I mean, after a certain...
Get pedantic on me right now. Thank you very much. You know the context I'm talking about.
No, I got you.
Yeah. Anyways. So just imagine. Okay, we've got this dude from Australia here. Honestly, I can't remember his name, but who believes that drinking your own piss is the greatest way to cure cancer. Now, hold on.
Okay.
Extending an invitation to that guy to come onto a global news network, as required by the Fairness Doctrine, to provide the opposing view to something else, that is going to make a lot of these people go scurrying, I think. So I honestly think that that veto to the Fairness Doctrine was probably the biggest mistake that was ever made, because I honestly think it would have dragged a lot of these kooks out into the light where they would be screaming in pain at the opposition to their rather twisted little views.
Joseph, since we got you back at this point, I remember you don't exactly watch very much in the line of television for the most part, but as far as news reporting, television or news agencies, however it is that you get, whatever it is that you get locally, does there seem to be like a particular bias for the same way that we've got? You've definitely got some groups that are on the left. You've definitely got some groups that are on the right. Does it seem to be much more central and fact-based than, or is it really the same kind of thing in crap that we've got over here too?
Well, well, like you said, I don't know enough about it. I only know there's one channel here which leans a bit towards the right. They're a little more corporate oriented, thus the powers that be party line. And then you have the national channels, which tend to be a little less alarmist, and because it's a government channel, so their basic role is to reassure the people, not to inspire any reaction or anything. And then you've got independent channels. There's one, it's called VFM, and they're kind of all over the place. But they're not very careful about their facts.
Well, that's disappointing, to put it mildly.
Yeah, there's no single voice of reason here, if that's what you're asking.
It seems to be
You take what you can from where you can come to your own conclusion.
Fair enough. That's damned annoying. So let's see if we can get this back onto the actual for a couple of seconds, because no, I mean, as usual, yes, we've got a whole bunch of different bunny holes that we end up going down, but there's important reasons for them that kind of tie into the whole damn thing, which is
and that's what this
pisses me off. This one especially pisses me off. Now, the reason why going down all of these different things was important to me, because I'm the one who's supposed to be driving the cable car on this one. Yeah, I know. Cable cars don't get whatever. Shut up. We know that the term comorbidity has suddenly become this big term. It's suddenly become like, it's being thrown all over the place. And, every once in a while, we have exactly this problem, where suddenly an old word, a word that is perfectly valid, suddenly explodes back onto the scene again because, well, it goes out that way. And we've seen that from news organizations. And the thing that, forgive me, kills me about this is that the whole damn thing started for a misunderstanding of what the damn term means. But as usual, how was it said? A lie will be circling the earth before the truth has laced on its shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And people will just accept the first thing that comes down the pike to them because, well, they don't know enough to go, wait, what?
Well, because they're too busy living their lives. A lot of people who do these, so-called in-depth analyses of the news, or, try to get both sides of everything, these are people that are reading the news 8, 10, 12 hours a day, trying to soak it all in and then try to sift through it all to come up with, okay, what's really happening? And, to borrow a line from that lady, ain't nobody got time for that.
I got an important question. Bridget, is it entirely possible, or more appropriately, is it outside the realm of reason to think that maybe, just maybe, part of the reason why people have been glomming onto this whole 10,000, not 180,000, is fear that maybe they're actually gonna stay safer?
I think so, and I say that because it was someone from the Trump administration that came out with that figure that should know better.
That's the piece that hurts.
This didn't happen until after Trump started getting hammered over how many deaths he was responsible for, and the negative ads were coming out, and it was someone from his administration who threw out that figure. That is a doctor that should know better. It was twisted for political purposes, in my opinion. And I also think that the CDC revising its guidelines in accordance to the Trump administration's demands, that was also for political reasons. They're saying now that they don't recommend testing if you come into contact with someone with COVID, unless you're symptomatic. By the time you're symptomatic, you've already been contagious for several days. They're also saying that you don't need to observe a 14-day quarantine. That if you get sick with it, as long as you've been fever-free for a couple of days, and you're good to go, and that's bullshit too.
Now, let me pause you there for a second, reminding you that when I was a kid, I had chickenpox twice. I know. I wasn't really happy about it either. If you've got chickenpox back in the 70s, when we did, you didn't send people with active chickenpox out. you kind of had to, get them away from everybody so they didn't infect more people. One would hope. I know, anti-vaxxers now just don't, whatever. I know. If you felt like you were coming down with a cold, you tried to keep yourself away from people. If you were coming down with the flu, same thing. If you had pneumonia, well, I mean, you get ragged on by people who tell you, what the fuck are you doing getting pneumonia again for the third time every 3 years? Cut it out. Or is that just me? I don't know, whatever. So the idea of, if you're going to be sick, you don't need to stay away from everybody. You're fine. What?
And also, saying that it's okay for teachers to teach in school, even if they're symptomatic, because they're essential workers. So that's a thing that the administration's pushing.
Yeah.
All of this is political. And I think it's horrible and it's horrifying to me that something like a pandemic is being used for political reasons. The CDC used to be based on science, but they're letting politics push their agenda now, and that is right.
Never let a catastrophe go to waste is a political motto.
Ain't that the case? And how disrespectful of the scientific system is it for a bunch of people who have dedicated their careers to not just science, not just the betterment of humanity, but to the Hippocratic oath of do no harm? How in the hell can these people just go ahead and say, yeah, everything's fine, sure, with a straight face? I simply cannot fathom. I simply cannot fathom these people doing that, because it's a complete disservice to the public trust, to the public, to the people who are dealing with this, to the people like us who, at the very least, would like to have the right information so we know how to deal with everything correctly. Thank you very much. Using the term comorbidity, using any term without knowing what it means, is simply, you're a fool. But it's worse than that. You're an unknowing fool. You are a walking sandwich board for the Dunning-Kruger effect. You don't even know how ignorant you truly are when you go and you use a term like this half-assed and don't know what in the hell you're actually talking about. Let me give you an example, really quickly. People who live in mud huts find a cave. They walk in there, and it's interesting, it's unusual, it's a place that they can go to commune with God because it glows. But people who go there are apparently taken from the earth because they die in a very short amount of time. Why? We don't know. That's God's choosing. No. If they had something as simple, I say simple, as a Geiger counter, they'd find out that it's glowing because there's a shit ton of radioactivity in there from stuff that's boiling up through the water and throwing Chernikov? I forget what the hell the name of it is. Radiation, that blue glow that's in the middle of an atomic pile. You don't know. You don't know. You don't understand. Now, if you had the right information, you wouldn't go in there because you wouldn't want to die. Because cancer, radiation poisoning, Yeah, whatever. People like us want to have the truth of what's going on around us. And I know, lower T truth. I know, it's a curse word in my face. I know. But in this case, I mean the facts. The explanation of the facts. The factual explanation of the facts. Do you see the continued item over here? Because if we know what's actually going on, if we have the facts of what's going on and what's causing these factual things, the factual explanation of what's causing these factual things, again, you see this building up over here, we know how to deal with them because we will know what's actually going to be happening. When you push over the domino, it's going to fall in that direction that you pushed it, not backwards towards you, because that's the way that factual things operate. And you go ahead and you throw this stuff out there and you say, well, it's only 10,000 because you're trying to win a fucking election? Yeah, there's my one. What the hell?
That's exactly what it is, because we're trying to win an election.
We're going to have a vaccine right before the election. I believe the expression I'm looking for here is, let me check my watch here. Bullshit?
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Is more my
No,
my thing.
I think they are going to have something out. It's just not going.
It's not going to do jack shit. It's going to be some...
It's going to be a placebo.
Yeah.
Because
or worse.
there has not been, or it could be harmful, who knows. But it's not going to be effective. They have not had the time to spend on it and to get it, thoroughly tested. They're just ramming this through because reasons.
Yeah, well, this kind of ties into something Shauna had said. I've been hearing that the numbers are skewed due to hospitals getting paid extra if they quote deaths was COVID related. We've heard this stuff before, and we've talked before with attorney. Remind me. Crap! I forgot his name. From Opening Arguments. Crap! I forgot his name.
Andrew Torres?
Andrew Torres. Thank you. Oh God, I'm terrible tonight. I'm sorry. The conspiracy theory ideas about these kinds of things, whether it's hospitals are getting paid extra if it is or if it isn't, that they're getting that big pharma is holding on to stuff, or they aren't, because that they can charge more for this. We talk through these kinds of things, and it basically comes down to try to hold a secret where tens of thousands of people are involved with keeping it. That doesn't work. So if it's something that you've heard because people have talked about it, yeah, they're wrong. And if they're trying to convince you, they're wrong. And if you think I'm going to go ahead and say it again with that gravelly voice, you're right. Because just... people do things because it expends the least energy possible. And if believing a comfortable lie helps them sleep better at night, that's exactly what they're going to do. And that's what this whole damn thing has been. All these people got sick because they had other things that they died from. It wasn't this virus, so it's not out there like crazy all over the place. I don't need to be wearing a mask. I don't need to be washing my hands. I don't need to worry about stuff. So it's not around there all over the place, so I'm actually safe. So I've got nothing to worry about. Which, by the way, all you guys who are out there, and yes, this is a real thing apparently, all you guys out there who are putting a holster on your mask for your sidearm and it's pointing down towards your clavicle, good on you. Keep going. Go ahead. Go ahead. Walk around with that hammer cocked. Go right ahead. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. No, I'm not. We'll just let Darwin do his thing. Why? You know, that's what it comes down to. Why 10% roughly? Why what is the huge reason for bringing it down by an order of magnitude specifically? You know, that's a piece about this that I've been trying to suss out for myself, and I can't come up with any reason for, you know, why specifically this number. Are there any indication from it?
Because it sounds a lot better.
Oh my God, are we talking?
If you go back to when we had the first 15 cases,
Yeah, there's going to be nothing left.
We don't want those because that makes our numbers look bad and it wasn't our fault. And, you know, we test too much. It makes the numbers look bad. And then slow down the testing, stop the testing. And sure enough,
the numbers just kept going.
The testing went down. People stopped testing so much. And so now when they test, you know, as a certain group of people, whether it's college students or whatever, they're coming up with, you know, 50%, 80% positive. You know, which is worse, having 2% of your tested population coming out positive or 80%? You know? He's worried about the damn numbers. That's all he's worried about. And then people are slamming him because of the numbers. And so he's doing whatever it takes to make the numbers look better.
You know, there's two pieces about this, by the way. One, my kid at college, the college is doing random testing every once in a while to make sure that, you know, if there's something that they can spot suddenly, that they can take care of that and isolate. So college is doing that. Who've got students, thank you. That is really important. Appreciate that. And the other piece, we've got okay. We had a little bit of a dip out on the stream for a couple of seconds there. That was nifty, novel. Almost forgot what I was going. Oh, so basically, what we're talking about here is the 1999 effect. What I'm talking about is the 0.99 cents on a purchase, because if it's 0.99, it's not that $1 up. It's less than. That's what it starts to sound like to me now. You know, you're not buying something for $20. It's only $19.99.
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of checking behind the scenes here about the.
Yeah, well, you guys have been a little bit busy with all the links that I got to deal with.
Well, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I got another one here. This is from. Okay, this is from factcheck.org, which, you know, say what you will.
They tend to be good.
Yeah, but the question is, are hospitals inflating the number of COVID-19 cases and the deaths so they can be paid more? Recent legislation pays hospitals higher Medicare rates for COVID-19 patients in treatment, but there is no evidence of fraudulent reporting. And then they go into a great big thing. Let's see. Minnesota State Senator was interviewed about it. Let's see. Yeah, one particular website did run a story saying that U.S. hospitals were getting paid more. Just trying to see here.
That begs the question then, and being that you know a little bit about billing a little bit more than I do, would it be would it be a matter of that they're getting paid more to say that they have COVID, or are they getting paid more because COVID patients require a higher dollar amount when it comes to treatment.
Well, I actually haven't.
What
Yeah,
Medicare's doing
sorry.
is paying based on a case rate.
Yes.
And so they're paying something like $37,000 for a COVID case, but that's the entire amount that they're going to pay. And so if you have someone that's in ICU for 6 or 8 or 10 weeks, they're still getting that $36,000 or $37,000, and that's it. So they're actually losing money.
Yeah. Right now, Medicare has determined that if you have a COVID-19 admission to the hospital, you'll get paid $13,000. If that COVID-19 patient goes on a ventilator, you get $39,000. Nobody can tell me after 35 years in the world of medicine that sometimes those kinds of things impact on what we do.
They're not going to put people on ventilators if they don't need it, though. That's
No, that's dangerous.
That's very dangerous, and they're finding out, especially with COVID, that that's like a last resort kind of a thing. If you put someone on a ventilator, then the chances of them ever coming off of it are very, very slim.
Yeah.
They're doing it actually kills people quicker to put them on a ventilator with COVID. You know, at first they thought that they were treating something similar to acute respiratory distress syndrome, which would require ventilation, but they were, not understanding how the disease worked when they first started putting on people on ventilators, and they're finding out now it's better to keep them off as long as possible and position them in a prone position.
Yeah.
And use supplemental oxygen, so they're not reaching for that ventilator unless they absolutely have to.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. You got to think about it. Like, it's September now. And this thing sparked up in February, roughly. And nobody had any idea what they were doing with this thing.
And they should have. They could have.
They could have.
Because it was novel.
But suddenly you had all these buzzwords come out. You had ventilators. You had hydroxychloroquine. You had...
you had 3D printers.
Okay, I hadn't quite thought of that one.
No, only because there were. I mean, you're pointing out that there were a lot of buzzes that were going around, and the DIY 3D print and copyright and all that stuff. Yeah, there was a shit ton of stuff that happened.
But now and now we're looking at the new buzzword now is comorbidity.
Yeah.
The simple fact is, and this ties into a lot of what we were talking about, is that the media jumps on one thing. They all dogpile it, and they muddy the waters so badly that none of us really understand what's going on until months later when someone finally cuts through all of this and says, oh, wait. Actually, it's been this.
Is that what I think it is?
It is. Somebody was putting the projection of the death toll from COVID people on projecting it on the Trump Hotel in Washington.
Go them.
Well, that's one of the reasons why shortly after this happened, that's when we got that 9%.
Aha! Okay. Now, you see, this is something I didn't know.
Nor I.
Because, I hear about all this kind of stuff like, oh, it's Trump this, it's Trump that. And look, I'm going to be honest, I do a lot of eye rolling on this because it's like, it seems like, oh, today is Saturday. And, basically somebody says the word Trump and somebody else flies into a frenzy. It's almost like a holy word, the opposite of a holy word on people. I remember you used to be able to say a sacred phrase and a demon would lose their shit. Nowadays you say Trump and somebody else is just going to freak out because reasons.
Yeah.
anyways, like I said, I do a lot of eye rolling on this because it's like, yeah, I'm getting too old for this.
Well, let's just say the Trump campaign, or at least Trump himself, took this kind of personally, and I think it was meant to be personal.
Well, you know, a statesman would let that roll off his back.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, that's what you come to expect from a lot of politicians. I mean, I go back to the Stephen Harper versus Jack Layton thing. You know, in the House, they fought each other tooth and nail. In the media, they eviscerated each other verbally. When Jack died, Harper saluted him and said he was a good man. Jack Layton got the kind of funeral that only a prime minister or other heads of state would get, and he never reached that. But he was recognized as a good man, a good fighter for the people. And he got a level of honor that is reserved for people of higher station than him. That is a statesman.
Yeah.
That is how a statesman reacts.
That's respect.
It is, and it's also an understanding that, you know, it's a game in a lot of cases. Politics is a game. The stakes are much higher than, you know, the Stanley Cup, I'll grant you. And Sean is saying it. Trump is an immature child, and he doesn't know how to grow up. And that's the thing. He takes things seriously, or personally. He does hold grudges. And for a lot of the blue-collar, easy-to-anger Americans out there, that resonates, which is why he's considered a populist, and which is why people are so fervent for supporting of him in many places, because his attitude strikes a chord with a lot of people. And, you know, there's a meme floating around about, and it shows all of these different politicians like Pelosi, Biden, a lot of these, and I'm going to say it, a lot of these old farts who've been in the business for decades, literal decades. Like, we're talking people who have been in office since, you know, Nixon times. And to me, that seems a lot, you know? You know, should you really be around for that long after so many changes and thinking that nothing's going to change? Anyways, one of the big things about it is that they've had, you know, 33, 44, 50, you know, 30, you know, between 30 and 50 years in office. And yet it's Trump that's the one's getting blamed, and he's been at this for 3 years. And look, say what you will, but when you've been in office for that long and things have gotten so bad, like the outsourcing of manufacturing jobs to China, to the point where you guys can't even make your own medicine right now.
Yeah.
It's true.
Fair.
Yeah. Where were the politicians to drop the hammer and say, no, you can't do that? A lot of them got their palms greased by these corporations. So, you know, to say that this person is bad or that person is bad, what the hell have you done? You know, they say that, you know, this politician no, you caused it because you let it happen. You were there at the start. Now that thou is reaping what thou hast sown. And people are angry now. And now we're in this situation. And actually, just before the show, I was flipping on Twitter because I hate my life. There's a reason I renamed myself to another black-pilled guy, because they should just rename Twitter to, you know, the blue bird should just turn black, because, anyways.
It's a cesspool.
Oh, it is. It is. But I saw a tweet from the WHO. You know what they're worried about now? Here's a new buzzword for you. We got comorbidity. Let's end with another one. Vaccine nationalism. Think about it. Whoever gets it first, are they going to spread it or are they going to hoard it? Not to sound overly conceited, but from where I'm sitting, what I saw in that article today about the human trials that we're doing, you might want to root for us.
Yeah.
Because we're the nice guys. Because we channel all of our evil into our cobra chickens.
Yep.
And our flat-tailed tanks.
Not
the beavers.
Yeah, I got that.
The flat-tailed buzzsaw tanks.
Yeah, I got that. At least we know that those tanks float. There's a callback to last night for us. That's the thing. We gotta see about wrapping a little bit, and I'm still trying to find my footing for such as it is for sleeping. So I'm a little kind of trying to make it at this point. Just real quickly on that one, wasn't it Jonas Salk who basically had whatever it was that he had and just said, yeah, just give it out to everybody, free. Nobody needs to keep this hoarded. Just everybody help.
Yep.
But, then again, that's... Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, if we come up with a vaccine all of a sudden that shows up November 1st, I am not going to be one of the first people to get it. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I am not taking a chance on a rushed product.
Hey, thalidomide.
Yeah.
Yep. And rotavirus, the vaccine that came out in 1999, nope.
Sorry, which one?
The rotavirus that they came out with in 1999 and then had to withdraw off the market when it started killing infants.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So,
yeah.
It still happens.
It does. And, I'm the same way. And I mean, I'm someone that really should be jumping at that vaccine pretty quick because, well, let's see, I got 2 years left until I got to go for my boosters. I actually do have to get 5 injections to compensate for the fact that I don't have a spleen. So, I mean, I am kind of chemically dependent on this kind of stuff because I've got a physical... I've got a problem. And I'm probably going to wait. If I can, I'm going to wait a year after this vaccine comes out to see if anything comes out. Like, as soon as I hear it hits the market, and by that I mean is available, and that I have the ability to do it, I am going to mark that day. And then I'm going to mark a day, either a year later or 6 months later. And I'm going to track how that vaccine is working. Are people recovering? Are they, foaming at the mouth, spasming on the ground and bleeding out their eyes? I got to stop watching some shows. Or are they just, dropping in the middle of the street all of a sudden?
Yeah. We have to do our due diligence.
Yeah,
I want something that's been through proper, complete trials from another country.
And that's why I'm keeping track of this. I'm going to start keeping track of this one that we're working on up here. I want to try to get a more up-to-date thing. Because like I said, I saw this on the news just yesterday about the trials about the human trials for this vaccine in Canada. So there's got to be something more up to date than what I posted here earlier.
Yeah. We'll have to see how that is. Joseph.
if you can trust France for one thing, it's their efficacy in testing medication and developing medication.
So if it's got France's seal of approval, we can mostly trust it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, their stamp has more credibility than
Okay.
the U.S.
Considering the joint with the EU, somehow that wouldn't surprise me at all, and that would make perfect sense.
Yeah, because I think it has to have both EU and France's approval before they can then.
Yeah. We've talked a lot over on the North American side. We really should be closing at this point, but there is something about this that I want to talk with Joseph about for just a couple of moments before we actually close up. So, bringing in the idea of France being able to say, hey, if this medication is good, this is probably good for everybody else. It's not just France, though, is it? It is the EU. It is a collection of multiple countries effectively working together, maybe not necessarily on the drug itself, but into making sure that it is safe for all the member nations to begin with. No?
Well, sure. Well, that's what the EU is. That's what it is. It's a joint effort of unification of standards and whatnot. My comment on France is more France tends to be, well, they like to hedge their bets. Well, they make damn sure that if they're going to put their name on something, n'importe quoi, as we say here.
No, understandable. Yeah.
But I think, well, there's countries like Denmark who are also very well known for their whole know-how in research. Yeah, they have a little more reason-based approach, a little less political. It's complicated, but anyways, but you're right. Yeah, anything that comes out in the EU has to go through the EU.
Yeah, the reason why I wanted to very specifically hit that is that, yes, in the United States, you have 50 states plus territories theoretically working for the whole. It tends to be much more there's 50 states plus territories kind of vying for the finish line first and then, pull everybody up afterwards. Versus the EU that has much more a tendency, and I'm speaking very, very grandly, where the EU would be working towards, well, we're working for each other. Yes, we'll have the individual country get, props specifically for it, but we're doing this for everybody, and yeah, you'll get the medal, but we all get the medal on top of that, which kind of sounds really weird that way, but I think that would not be too
Actually,
overly dramatic.
Yeah, well, there is no medal. I mean, because the EU serves as both a booster and brakes for an individual country research. Because I mean, they take from the collective to fund research. If somebody comes forward, because if a certain country, doesn't matter which one, comes forward with a project, research project, and it gets EU approval, well, the funding that project is going to get is coming from the collective. But the product of that research effort also has to pass by the EU, which is kind of going to quash any individual country's desire to get ahead of the rest. What comes from the collective goes to the collective. That's basically how.
Yeah, and there's a very large something to be said for that. It's it ends up, generally speaking, and from what I've understood of the matrix of it all, forgive me, is that you work for the greater good when all is said and done, and it may be a little bit slow sometimes because of those breaks, like you're saying, but it works towards those greater goods. No?
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons the UK wanted to break from. They wanted to break from this. They tend to mentality as their American counterparts. They just want to be at the front of the pack, ahead of the race, and all that. And the EU does a lot. I mean, in every aspect of the economy, whatever. It tends to be a breakthrough that takes off that edge.
Maybe there's a future episode talking about what socialism really means. Sometimes,
yeah.
then,
Democratic.
very much so. Stephanie had said, working together is how our species has thrived. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, well.
I mean, there's safety in numbers. Everybody pulls together for the collective. Forgive me for having a Borgism there. But, for the greater good, it's hard to argue with that, isn't it? Joseph, you didn't get you really didn't have very much to have to say for this whole damn thing until, like, really here. I'm sorry for that. I wasn't sure where.
Don't worry. Believe me, if I had something to add that you guys weren't saying, I would do it.
Oh, I know, but you also know, I like to try to get us all as equal as possible, depending as to what's going on. So,
we're talking more. I'm not very well versed in medical research and all that, the actual thing, like Bridget is. So,
no,
kind of normal.
There's that. Fair enough. What would you like to end up closing with for tonight?
Oh, that'll do. I mean, let's just say that the next few months is going to be pretty interesting in the United States.
Ain't that the case?
With the maneuvering on the Trump side of things getting more and more frantic.
And fair enough. Dallin, what did you... I'm sorry?
I said I'll be watching.
Join the club. Yeah, Dallin, real quick, what last item have you got?
If it smells like fish, dig a little deeper. If you see a story that just doesn't seem right, keep digging, because chances are it might be wrong.
Somebody for this? Yeah, I'll just move right along. Bridget, you have definitely got to have the most bile going on for this whole damn thing. What have you got to close it?
Wow. We still have a lot of uninsured people in this country, and a lot of uninsured people that are getting COVID in this country. And if people think that hospitals are just slapping COVID on, anything and everything to make more money, they are sadly mistaken. Some of these uninsured people have racked up $500,000, $600,000, $1 million worth of hospital charges, and they have no insurance, and there's no way for them to pay it. And it's not just a diagnosis. This shit is actually killing lots of people. And it's a lot more than 9,000, I can tell you that.
Okay.
And, fuck Mike Pence and Trump and just the whole fucking administration. Just fuck them.
So you're leading the bit on that one. Let me leave you with this. Somebody had pointed out a few years ago, 3,500 people dead in one day was simply unfathomable and would never happen again. We have more than that in a week. Every week. For 6 months and more. Why is this not reason enough to demand the absolute best? You threw a war halfway around the world for 3,500 people. There should be an absolute war on this microscopic killer. There's plenty of money to go along for planes and bullets and aircraft, jet fuel. Where's the money and the drive to kill the killer? It's on your spray-tanned head, whether you like it or not. It's on the head of every person that allows that monstrosity to simply allow this to have happen by not doing anything. Am I angry? Oh, yeah. I was angry when my wife died from cancer, and we did our damnedest for that, only to find out that what could have saved her ended up hurting her, probably ended up killing her, because it helped her to bleed. Am I angry about this? Yeah. Because people are not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not doing their damn jobs. Is it the researchers I'm talking about? Yeah. Is it the politicians? Yeah. Is it a lot of other groups? Yeah. But it's the people that don't want to help each other, won't wear a goddamn mask over their nose, take it off so that they can cough. We're the first line of defense for each other. We should goddamn to act like it. Kick the people who don't. At this rate, I'm gonna get really, really, really super emotional, and let me tell you, that's not a place I want to be right now. So, let's close up shop. Thank you very much for being with us, everybody. Hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives, and truly, I hope that you stay safe. As always, everybody, thank you. Joseph, you take very good care of yourself. It's good to have you, and you have yourself a good morning. Thank you so much.
You too, sir. Yeah, with pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please be safe, of course.
Yeah. Yep. Extra touch.
Bridget, something tells me you want to say, fuck Mike Pence again. So, do you want to go ahead and say that again?
Just fuck Mike Pence.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. Thanks for being on, hon. And you, again, of course, take care of yourself, huh?
Yeah, you too.
Wow, thanks. Irony. Appreciate that.
Sorry. Went down the wrong way. And if anybody wants to find me on Facebook, you can send me a friend request, Bridget Fitch. And you can find me on my blog at bridgetfitch2112.wordpress.com.
I was about to say, phrasing, man. Just...
Excuse me. I took a drink and it went down the wrong way. Ugh.
if you're a dolphin, you wouldn't have this problem.
This is true.
Intelligent design, my ass. That's not an Dallin, twice in 48 hours, I get to say thank you for being with me.
Pleasure as always. Okay, weather's better now. I know I'm very behind. I've just been... I don't know. I don't know what I've been.
It's volunteer work. It's not like we're keeping you on a schedule or anything. Don't worry too much.
Yeah, I know. It's still...
At least you weren't doing it in the middle of the show this time.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I am the custodian of, or the curator of the audio version of this show over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. Any kind of consciousness streams I might have, you can catch that over at inthewind.yo5.ca. And making its return after 1 month of way too much hot and humid to do anything about it, my podcast, The Kick in the Cast, will be coming back on Monday, and you can see that over at podchaser.com/kickinthecast.
Thank you, man. I really do appreciate it. You take care of yourself, huh?
Yeah, I will.
All right. As stated, everything's over at the website. If you'd like to leave a voicemail message for us, you can do that over at 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554. And we'd love to, if you're going to insult us, at least, kind of be creative, at least. That'd be nice. But, be that as it may. And for anybody, only because we kind of joked about this last night, anybody that would like to donate to the show, feel free over at patreon.com/HCTV. I think I got that. You know what? I never think about it, so I never think to offer that. We say that we're really bad at self-promotion. I'm really bad at self-promotion. Over on the chat, thank you, Stephanie, Phyllis, Shauna. Appreciate it. You guys, please take care of yourselves. And, of course, for all of our folks, it's the end of the summer, and I know there's some folks that are going to try to get in a few more boat runs out there. Please do not drink on the water. You want to drink on dry land and fall over drunk, you're going to hurt yourself. You fall over into the water, you're going to inhale cold water. There is actually a reflex for that. Don't let that happen to you. So, you all take care of yourselves. It's good to have you with us. And, as always, on behalf of us all, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And, my lady, we were talking about you tonight. You should have been 50 years old. I'm still in love. Well, Matane Fujin, I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. And our anniversary of having met is about to come up. I miss you. So, until the next time we get together, everyone, as always, good night.